Welcome to another episode of Non-Toxic Conversations. I'm Sam, your host.
And I'm Nikki, your co-host, and we are integrative health practitioners with Balanced Friends. I'm so excited to be here today and talk about estrogen. It's a super important topic, so let's get into it.
Yes, we have a great episode today all about estrogen. We want to talk about estrogen dominance. What is estrogen? How can you get too much estrogen? How to lab test for your levels at home. And then also we can detox too much estrogen. So we can dive into these topics today. But really our goal with this platform is to bring you information, but to also provide you with a solution. So we're going to get into all of that today, but to make it all about estrogen. So Nikki, what is estrogen exactly?
Yes, so when we say estrogen, there's a few different types of estrogen. When we're talking about it today, and most of the time when you hear estrogen, it's most likely going to be estradiol, which is the most active form of estrogen that you have in your body. It's super important, helps regulate the menstrual cycle, and it's one of the primary female hormones. It's present in men, but for the sake of this episode, we're going to be talking mainly about women. So estradiol, it actually, just to get a little bit deeper for your cycle, it actually stimulates the growth and the thickening of the uterine lining, and then it'll peak just before ovulation, and it'll basically then trigger the follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone to then start ovulation. So it's very important to the woman's body and just keeping everything in balance. It works alongside with progesterone to maintain the balance. So when estrogen gets too high, also known as estrogen dominance, that's when some issues will start to arise.
So really the key is we don't want the estrogen too high, like in estrogen dominance. We don't want it too low. We want it balanced. We want it just right so that we can feel good throughout our entire cycle. And also if for anybody who's on their fertility journey, it's really important that we find balance in our hormones, specifically with estrogen. Like Nikki said, today we're mostly talking about women, but men absolutely can have too much estrogen in their bodies as well. And that's really where the term like man boobs might come from. So if you are a man with man boobs, you may have too much estrogen and we want to know about it. We want to help you through those struggles as well. So you're not completely excluded from this conversation, but we are definitely going to be moving more towards the direction of the women. So let's talk about how can somebody get too much estrogen? Like, how does that even happen?
Yeah, so a bunch of different ways. Chronic stress, that actually will steal progesterone, leaving estrogen unchecked. Liver congestion or just toxic overload on your liver. If your liver isn't detoxing properly, then that can lead to excess estrogen in the body. Endocrine disruptors. So I mean, we'll have another episode on this later, but BPAs, parabens, phthalates, PFAs, just all sorts of things that are present in a lot of Americans' daily lives. And again, I'm not going to get too far into that because we'll have another episode to talk just about that, but that is a big one. And then for gut health as well, bad bacteria can actually recirculate the estrogen. And so your gut health, obviously we talk about it all the time. It's super, super important. And it's like Sam said, like the reason that all these topics kind of cross over each other is because the body is all about balance. So everything just needs to be in balance. Like nothing can be too high, nothing can be too low. And then also everything is connected. That's, where the holistic approach comes from. So that's my tangent there, but
not to cut you off, but I think that's also why we lean on the labs a lot too, because
100%.
so many of the symptoms they overlap because the body as a whole, so we lean on those labs to just give us a little bit of a shortcut since everybody is an individual and everybody is going to be dealing with different things. I've had clients that have like zero estrogen in their body. And then I have clients where they have way too much estrogen in their body. So it definitely can go both ways. And you'll have these different set of symptoms that come when it's too high, like what we're talking about today, estrogen dominance. And then you have other set of symptoms that come with estrogen being too low. So again, we're here to help you find balance. I know some of the other ways that we can get too much estrogen in our body would be phytoestrogens, which are actually naturally occurring in foods. Just to name one food would be soy. So sometimes if we want to bump up our estrogen, we might want to eat more of these foods. But when we're having too much estrogen, we want to maybe avoid these types of foods. And these are something, or this is something that we would talk to clients about, like maybe on a lab review. If we run labs and we know that you personally have too much estrogen, then we want to give you all the steps to get this estrogen out of the body. I also love that you brought up liver. I think, obviously at Balanced Friends, we think liver health is beyond important, but I've seen over the years of, working at Balanced Friends, over the years, working with clients all over the country, all over the world, that is really amazing what supporting your liver can do, especially when it comes to the role of hormones. So, for example, we will have clients come to us who are struggling with their fertility, or maybe their cycles are painful, or maybe they're having skin issues. Well, when you go through like the 7-day liver detox boot camp that we offer, clients have gone through that, then they come out and they get pregnant like the next cycle or 2 or 3, like shortly after. And I think it's because then their liver can process these hormones better. But then another avenue of too much estrogen also comes from excess fat on the body. And when you go through a liver detox boot camp, it actually will, you're just going to lose weight. I've had clients lose like 10 pounds in that 7 days. That doesn't always happen. It depends on the client. But having less fat on the body and supporting your liver at the same time seems to be a really good recipe for hormone health. It's absolutely incredible. Is there anything else to add to that, Nikki?
No, I think you really covered it all there, just about, phytoestrogens. That's also another cause of estrogen dominance, because that can mimic estrogen in the body. I think, did we talk about the symptoms of estrogen dominance yet?
No, what? Actually, before we do that, there's one other area that I'm thinking about where you could potentially be exposed to more synthetic estrogen. Will be.
May have lost you there for a second.
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay, gotcha.
You good? Okay. Oops, sorry, y'all. Technical difficulty. This is what life is like, having a virtual business. I swear, it's always something with these types of things. It really is. No worries. But I was going to say hormones that have been added to our food. I think that is another source where you can get exposed to hormone imbalances and maybe too much estrogen. It can just throw off the delicate cycle of the hormone. Yeah. So that's why we do recommend eating organic whenever possible, because then your animal products are not going to be given any additional hormones. So that's just another avenue of where we can get exposed to hormones. So no, Nikki, let's go ahead and go over some of the symptoms.
Yes, so estrogen dominant, so that's going to be, again, too much estrogen in relation to your progesterone. So you may have, your estrogen level is technically okay, but then your progesterone level is progesterone level is too low, and that's going to be estrogen dominance as well. So heavy, painful periods, really bad PMS symptoms, weight gain, mainly in the thighs, hips, and lower belly, tender breast and fibroids, if I can speak, mood swings, anxiety, depression-like feelings, and then low libido and fatigue are all going to be symptoms of estrogen dominance.
Wow. And I feel like a lot of people suffer from those things, actually. When clients come to us and they're filling out their detailed health history, those are definitely some common complaints that I'm used to seeing. So totally makes sense. So now you had mentioned both progesterone matters, and so does estrogen as well. So I think when it comes to selecting a lab test, it's important that we're checking at least both of those levels minimum. Would you agree?
Yes, 100%.
So at Balanced Friends, we actually have a variety of hormone labs available to our community. You can get them through our website. And if you feel like you're having a hard time deciding what the right hormone lab is for you, that's where you need to reach out to us via email at balancedfriends@gmail.com, or you can send us an Instagram direct message. We are at Balance Friends on Instagram. But I will also link up our website in the show notes so that you can get on there and you can explore the labs for yourself. So it's really worth it to know where your levels are at and what you're doing. You just might be surprised what you find. Because like I said, I've had clients with no estrogen, no progesterone, actually, no DHEA. And then there's me. I just recently tested my hormones and I had way too much testosterone. Like I'm not in balance. So it's always kind of tweaking and finding the right fit for you. And that's what we are here to help you with at Balance Friends. So be sure to subscribe to this episode so you don't miss any more good information. We have another great episode coming your way soon.